Good morning, folks. Welcome to Anupi's Tips and Tricks. Today we're going to work on a recipe that is in my third cookbook, Indian for Everyone. Here's the book. I would encourage you, if you can, support an author, support a small business, purchase your cookbook. If you've got this book, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Pull it out. Indian for Everyone not only comes in a hardcover like this, but also in paperback. So it's pretty affordable, and it's a great way to support your authors and your small businesses. Buy other people's cookbooks and books as well, not just mine. Sookhi Dal is on page 143. Yep, those are my feet. And here's the recipe. Let's get into it, because as we talk today, and here's the photo, I will give you more tips and tricks as we go, but I want to get it going. So I've got my Le Creuset, my Dutch oven. I had someone say to me very snarkily once that because they have an Instant Pot now and cooking it all the time, they don't bring anything else out. They don't use their crock pot, they don't use their Dutch ovens, and I think that's ridiculous. There's different ways to cook on any given day, and today I want to use my Dutch oven because it's gorgeous and I love Le Creuset, and why wouldn't I? I've got a bunch. So use whatever works for you. We're going to be talking about dal. You bought a bunch of lentils. How do I know this? How do I know that you bought a bunch of lentils over the last couple weeks? Hi, Allison. Welcome. Well, because my company sells the harder to source legumes, and this is one of our products. Can you tell me what this is? Come on, there's prizes involved. Well, there's not really prizes involved, but you will get props from me if you can tell me what this legume is. Would it surprise you if I told you it's the same as this one? You know what that is, right? That's the mung bean. It's not a lentil. It's not flat and round. It is a bean, technically. Scientifically, it is a bean without the skin and split. That's what it looks like. That's why we call it, oh, that's the wrong label. And sorry, this is the reason why when our product gets to the shelf, it looks much better than this. The reason why this is messed up is I ordered a bunch of jars that were the wrong size. I had to return them, and that's what it means to be a small business owner. You make mistakes. Owning a business is like putting a puzzle together every single day. My oil's going in my pot. The way you tell your Le Creuset is hot, folks, and ready is by touching the handles. It's getting nice and warm, but I don't want it to get too warm, so I'm going to turn it down just a hair. And let's go ahead and go to my spice tiffin and grab my cumin seed. Hi, Angela. Canada's in the house. My cousin lives in Vancouver, so I know Canada super well. Toronto is one of my favorite cities. You notice how I dropped the R. That's how Canadians say. They don't say Toronto. Toronto, it's Toronto, right? All right, so, oh, hey, Allison, I've got your order. I'm going to process it today, I promise. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Cumin seed, getting hot. We want it to release its essential oil. On my prep tray, I used bright yellow because we need a little brightness in our lives. I've got my hing or asafoetida. Asafoetida, do the research, Google it, is being shown as a great anti-inflammatory, maybe as good as haldi or turmeric. So asafoetida is a good one to get into your day-to-day. It's not easy to find, I know, that's okay. Just keep looking for it. Now what I want to do is go ahead and put in my cinnamon sticks, my cloves. All right, so we're going to go ahead and keep moving with this. I'm going to go over here for a second. You'll see my messy stovetop. I've already made black rice, made black because I burned it. We all make mistakes in the kitchen, folks. It's just how we handle making those mistakes that really counts. All right. I always believe in full disclosure, being super honest about process. All right, so your cumin seed is in there, your cinnamon stick, your cloves, right? So we've pulled the essential oils out of all of that. If you've got other whole spices, this is a great time to get it in there. I'm gonna throw in a little bit of turmeric powder. I like to do that just because it's a heartier spice. I don't mind it going right in my oil like that or in my ghee if I was gonna use ghee. And keep in mind, wonderful anti-inflammatory. Turmeric powder must go or should go. It's fat soluble, should go in a fat. That is why so many people drink these lattes, these turmeric lattes, and it is a fat, right? It is better absorbed in a fat as well as combined with black pepper, which most people don't realize. Now we're gonna go ahead and put the onion in. I've got the one hand, so I'm gonna go ahead and just pour it in there. I like pre-chopping my onion, and I like labeling my jars. I reuse my jars. So it's a great way to recycle. It's better than actually putting your jars in the recycling bin in the United States, because a lot of that glass, I'm reading, gets broken and it does not actually get recycled. Again, do your research. It kind of stinks to know that and hear about that, but that is the case. We are so behind other countries when it comes to recycling. And here we go. I've got a jar here. This used to be my tomato paste jar, but I've just gone ahead and grated some ginger and some garlic. Let's just go ahead and put that in there. All right. And Montreal, I have not been there yet, but I've been practicing my French, so hopefully I will get there soon. I know it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful city. And I hope one day we'll all be traveling again with a better appreciation of what it means, right? To travel. All right, so we're gonna let that just cook a moment. What I wanna do now is go ahead and I'll put my chilies in, why not? I've got my green chilies here. I'm gonna throw them in too. Remember, if you're not fond of the heat from green chilies, wait for them to throw in, because in that oil, in that ghee, it is going to kind of release a level of heat. So you'll smell it. You might cough a tiny bit, but I don't mind it. I'm so used to it. If you're not a worry. You don't have to put them in then, put them in a little bit later. So see that? That is your tadka. And now I want to put my dal. Dal is just a legume. And we're going to go ahead and just mix this up a tiny, tiny bit. This is 2 cups of the split and skinned Moong Dal. Now, what could you use instead if you don't have this? You can use that orange salmon colored Masoor Dal as well. And Allison, very interesting. They used to use hing during the Civil War. You heard. Can you send me anything you might have be able to like read up on that? I would just be so curious. That's amazing if that's true. Asafoetida, huh? I'm telling you, all of these spices are so critical to our health. And I'm gonna go ahead, because I'm talking so much. This is pretty much cooked. I don't really want it, and you could brown it more if you wanted to. I'm not going to. But because I'm talking and I don't want anything to cook anymore, I'm gonna go ahead and turn that heat down just for a moment, and we'll turn it back up. So here we go. 2 cups is gonna go right in there. Oops, come on, there you go. I love this bowl because I found it in Lisbon, in Portugal. Over the summer, there was a place that sold these ceramics by the kilo right near our hotel. I chanced upon it, found it on the internet, and brought these bowls back. And they're just so fun to use. And it's great to get my mind off the crazy times right now. All right, so we've got our dal in here. Keep in mind, typically, I would use a bigger pot. But because I'm making sookhi means Sookhi means dry in Hindi. So let's see. Angela, your question was, what's the shelf life of cumin seeds? So it's interesting. When you use ground spices, the shelf life is about 3 to 6 months, maybe a little more if they're super fresh. But for whole spices, I've heard 4 to 5 years. Now that might seem a little long, and maybe you want to use them a little less, but you have not broken them down. The essential oils have not been released, so you can use them for far longer. So we got our lentils in here, and now what we're going to do is, and again, technically it's not a lentil, it's a bean, but I'm not going to call it that because it doesn't look like that, right? So we've got our legumes. That's probably the most accurate way to say it. And now I want to go ahead and spice it with a little bit more spice. Let's put a little garam masala in there. Let's put a little bit of salt, about a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to put a little coriander powder. Coriander powder is great because it really lends a little citrus to your dish. And red chili powder. We like our stuff spicy. And now I want to go ahead and put a spice that you may not have on hand. This is, and this is just the label. Sometimes this is how I label my spices. I just cut the label off, is amchur powder. That's how you spell it. Dried mango powder. It gives your dish a little bit of tartness, which I love in this dry dal. So a little bit more. All right. Welcome, Tom. It's okay. We're making dried legumes. And tell us what you got at the store that was so important, just so much more important than this live feed, Tom. My gosh, I'm hurt. I'm just kidding, I promise. You can always watch it later because they are still stored on my Facebook page. All right, so see that? This is your lentil. Typically, on my lentils, we require you to use a little bit more water than you might be accustomed to. We go 1 cup of this legume, 4 cups water. We're gonna do 1 cup water. Interesting, right? So we have 2 cups of legumes in here. This is the Moong Dal, split and skinned, and I'm just gonna pour 2 cups. It's a 1-for-1 ratio of water in there. Let's mix it up, and then I'll answer your questions in just a moment. I just want to get it cooking. Now, if you don't have this Moong lentil on hand, Moong Dal, not a problem. Use any split and skinned legume that you've got on hand. The orange legumes, not so true lentil, is fine. Where's my lid? It's all the way over here. Let's grab our lid. And we're going to leave it slightly ajar to let it release the heat. We're going to turn that heat down. And we're going to see what's going to happen in just a couple minutes. And as we let that cook, I want to show you this recipe in my cookbook, Indian for Everyone. Again, it's page 143. If you have it, have the book, pull it open. And it's great because I love the fact that all of the pictures that are in my cookbooks are all taken by myself and my photographers. So these photos were actually taken in the living room of my house in our bay windows in Chicago with a lot of natural light. And this is what your dried Sookhi Dal, dried legumes, is going to look like at the end. And it's great because you can stuff it in these mini pitas. This is my daughter, Neha. This is her little lunch box. I love these. These are actually tiffins. and one for Arya, my other daughter. And this is how I fed them as they were growing up. And we thought we would do something, take a photograph that was really personal. And that Mom, I Love You mug is my daughter Neha made that for me when she was maybe 4 or 5. It has cracked because the dog jumped on it. It was sitting on a step and it broke in like 5 or 6 pieces, but we are going to put it together. So this is a great legume dish to make as a salad. So say, for example, you want to eventually add some greens to it. You want to add some kale, some chopped spinach. You can add anything you want towards the end. You really can make this dish your own. Now, a couple of differences are, in this recipe, I talk about 2 cups, and then I use 3 cups of water. It's in here somewhere. There it is, 3 cups of water. You really can do 2 cups and 2 cups water. I use a little more in this recipe because I don't really soak them. And you may need it a little extra water and moisture for that. But it'll do the trick to use just a 1-for-1. Hey Paneeth, how are you? Paneeth is a wonderful friend and amazing entrepreneur in Delhi, and you're not working right now because everyone's at home, so you're watching. Thanks for watching, and I'm sure Paneeth is eating lots of amazing Indian food in Delhi, and one day I will visit you there when we can finally start flying and seeing all of our friends and family soon. But we miss you in Chicago, Paneeth. You're doing amazing, amazing things in Delhi. Look for Paneeth when you're there. Remind me of the name of your company again, Paneeth, please, and I will let people know to watch out for you. He has an amazing design eye and has one of the most amazing brands out there. Yeah, so let's look at what's going on in our pot. Everyone's so quiet today. What's going on? So look at this. It's cooking away. And what I like about this is I was interviewed on WLS radio this week, and they were asking for different things that people can do with the legumes because everyone is buying lentils right now, but you may not know what fun things you can do with them. And this is just a wonderful, wonderful recipe to make your own. So say, for example, you don't necessarily want to make it Indian. Maybe you want something a little more Italian. Well, cook your legumes, your Moong Dal, without the tadka, without all of the ginger and the garlic. And then you can add in whatever else you want later. Say you want Italian spice, say you want an East Asian spice. You can add all of that in later. Make it whatever you want. Make it your own. But here's the thing. It's really critical, folks, these days. I have to say, we're all quarantined. We are all making sure that we don't go near elderly and we don't infect anybody. We're making sure that we are staying out of the way, and we're washing our hands and not touching our faces. But I will say, if our politicians and our healthcare providers do not also speak and talk about how critical it is, if you're at home, to stay healthy and keep yourself healthy through food, I feel like it's a real, true missed opportunity. So the ginger, the garlic, onion, spinach, spices are so important. This turmeric, a whole bowl of anti-inflammatory. And the way I explain anti-inflammatory is I say that you wake up with a sore throat. That's inflammation. How do you get rid of it? Well, the way I do it is a cup of hot water with a black tea bag. My grandmother taught me this. A little bit of turmeric, a little bit of salt, gargle with it. And every morning I drink lemon water with turmeric in it. And so these are all things that you can do on a day-to-day basis. Don't feel so incredibly helpless. We've got to be empowered, and we've got to be empowered through food. And I got to say, I tell this to my own Indian friends that have started eating so much more processed foods. It's critical to remember the things that our parents and our grandparents taught us, because there is so much of value in all of that. All right, so look at this. This is my husband's absolute favorite dish. And look, there's a little bit of water in here. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little bit of a mix. And that's okay. And what I like about this especially, it's actually, you know what, I hate saying this, but I'm going to be honest, it's not my absolute favorite dish, and that's probably why I don't make it as often as I should for my husband. It is his favorite. And what I've been doing lately is I've been making things that I want, and then my family doesn't want them for dinner. And so yesterday we did the palak paneer, and they didn't want that for dinner, and so I scramble. So today I made something that my husband's going to love, and I want him to enjoy dinner tonight, and that way I don't have to scramble and make double dinner. So now this is just about cooked. I'm going to go ahead and take a taste. Let's grab a spoon here. Almost done, not quite. Now, if when you're cooking this, you find that for some reason it's not quite done yet and you need a little tiny extra more water, feel free to go over to your electric kettle, heat up a little water, throw it in there, maybe like 2 tablespoons at a time. Let it cook a little bit more, and that way you don't pull down the heat of your dish ever. All right, so that is my Sookhi Dal, and as it cooks, ideally this would be done, and it will be in just a couple more minutes, but I want to go ahead and add in a couple things before we sign off. Here's your cilantro. Mine was actually getting a little wilted in the fridge, so I used it today anyway, and it's fine, it'll perk up. And lemon juice. Lemons are fantastic. Great way to clean your liver, flush your liver out. I call it a mini cleanse. Every morning is why I drink lemons juiced along with warm water. There's some seeds in there. We will pull them right out. And if you want to try this lentil out, feel free to hop on my website, indianasapplepie.com, and you can order your legumes, your Moong Dal. We make sure that all of our dals are double and triple cleaned, so they're really clean for you. And I right now have 4 legumes that I sell. They're harder to find on Western grocery store shelves. I'm going to throw a little bit more onion in there and grab this other little seed. And that is about it. And I'm going to go ahead and let's get rid of that. Let this cook for another couple minutes, and it will be done and ready for dinner. And let's flip the camera. All right, so now you get to see me after working out, being a little crazy. I'm gonna jump in the shower in a minute. I was building a huge skid late last night in my storage unit alone for pickup today, so we could get all of our product out to Whole Foods and the other grocery stores where lentils are running low. And so thank you for everybody that is purchasing our stuff. We will be back on the shelf soon with all of our lentils as well as all of our sauces. But any questions, folks, about dry dal, all you've got to do to make this is whatever amount of moisture you would typically put into your lentils, you cut it in half. And I like to use a split and skinned version of whatever legume you're going to use because it is going to be easier to cook, faster to cook. You could also use broth if you wanted to, like a chicken broth or some kind of beef broth. If you want to add a little more flavor, we choose not to because so many of us are vegetarian, and we really don't want to add that in. We get so much flavor from our spices that we don't really need to. All right, so that is your tip of the day. Do you want to switch this camera around? Let's take another look at how we're doing in here. It looks gorgeous, and it's really just about cooked. Let's grab a clean, I'm gonna grab a spoon that just had my onions on it. I'm gonna go ahead and taste it one more time. I do think it needs a little more salt. Other than that, it is ready to go, and you could layer that into a pita, put it on a wrap, on a roti, roll it up. You could stuff it between two pieces of bread. You know what we do is we have a panini maker, and so I'll put it in 2 slices of bread with some chutney, and I'll give that to the kids as a sandwich. Lots of fun things that you can do. All right, I will check in with you tomorrow. I'm not sure what's going to be cooking tomorrow, but I know for now I've got dinner made. I'm going to get showered up, head to my storage unit. That's the only place that I go these days, and I hope everybody else is hanging in there and self-isolating. And I hope you'll give this recipe a try when you have a chance. Talk soon, folks. Bye. Stay well, stay healthy, and eat your spices, eat your ginger garlic, drink down your lemons. Stay healthy, folks. It's really important right now. Bye.